Hi, can
Yes, we need to see you, Rajiv.
yes, I'm here.
Wonderful. Great. So
Nice to see you.
how nice to see you. I've only seen you in your TEDx talk. It was fantastic, by the way. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it was done with so much passion that it really, it communicates itself with the audience.
Thank you. Thank you. This is my Ikigai, so I hope the passion comes out.
Yeah, it does. And, during the course of the conversation, of course, I'll ask you the basic question will, of course, be what is Ikigai? But then I'll also ask you how we can use this in right now, because the world is so different from
Yeah. Yeah.
when you gave this lecture, and going forward, because the world is also not going to remain the same. It's going to be so
Yeah.
different now. So I'll start off with a couple of those questions, because I think we have a lot of questions. We'll have a lot of questions from the audience as well. So
Yeah.
I want to give them adequate time. I think they're very excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but really, I think one of the things that struck me, Rajiv, and we'll talk about this a little later, is
Mm.
I mean, how does it sort of fit in with the Hindu way of life? Because we also have that whole ideal of doing your duty and forgetting about what the outcome will be, which I suppose is our own ikigai, in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you a little about, where you saw any parallels, if at all. And uh, I think uh, if you've heard anything from Japan, and especially from Okinawa, on how they're handling, the sort of the lockdown, I think that would be very interesting, because the whole idea of small communities is very important. I think in Okinawa, you have these small groups of people which sort of help each other. So how does that work in this whole idea of social distancing and all that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just a
Absolutely.
couple of questions, but I think there'll be lots from the audience as well.
Oh,
So,
no, done. Done. Done.
yeah,
Done.
great.
Absolutely.
So where are you right now? You're in Delhi, or
I'm in Delhi. I'm at my home in South Delhi.
looks very nice.
Thank you.
Looks very Japanese and very sort of minimalist. I hope
All credits to my wife. I have no credit to take in this.
great. Okay, so Ravi, shall we start?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Just one more minute. I think 4:59 now.
Okay. There's so much excitement for your talk, Rajiv, and I'm so happy I got this opportunity to get to know you virtually, at least.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
But you're actually a finance person.
I'm a finance guy. Yeah.
You
So we
continue
all have
to do
labels.
that, or
30 years in wealth management business.
okay, so you continue to do that, or you've sort of
Yeah, that is, and I link it very well in my mind. In terms of how this and that relates.
right. That'll also
There is
take,
a-
yeah.
Ma'am, we'll go live.
Yeah, sure. So this is the second edition of Express Time Pass, and we have a wonderful, wonderful speaker today. I'm really excited about it. We've had a lot of requests already to speak to him. I think everyone wants to understand their Ikigai. Rajiv Bajaj, welcome to the show. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for agreeing to be part of it almost instantly. It was really generous of you. I know that there are a lot of demands on your time, but really, Rajiv, one, of course, you have to start with sort of explaining very simply to people who may not know what Ikigai is, and then
Yeah.
telling us how we can use that, especially in these lockdown times.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Kaveri, and to New Indian Express to call me on this platform.
Yeah.
Time pass. Ikigai is also a kind of time pass. So because Ikigai, all of us in Hindi ask this question: "Time kaise pass kar rahe ho?"
Exactly.
Particularly in these COVID times, and so these are the times, I would say, which would determine who we truly are. And I must compliment you and your platform to bring this conversation at this time, because we are all introspecting, and our mental emotional, intellectual faculties are tested to the hilt. And
Absolutely.
we are almost like a bare bones. It's almost like being on a Monvrat socially, so being like, it's like going to Vipassana, or it's like going to a jungle camp.
Yeah.
How you feel, how these teenagers feel after those boy and girl scout outings. So we
Yeah.
are almost all in that frame of mind. So this is the right time to speak of Ikigai.
Yeah.
And Ikigai, as simply explained, it is a combination of Ikigai word, and Japanese words are very, very complex. And as I have said in my TED talk, they are very hard to translate into English language. English language is a very poor, medium to
Yeah.
understand because in Japan and in Eastern cultures, each word is a philosophy in itself. So Ikigai is a philosophy. But if you were to purely in English terms break down the word, it is a combination of Iki and Kai, which becomes Ikigai, which means life flow, flow of life. How do you pass your time? How do you, what is your life purpose? And what is your reason for being? So
Yeah.
that is what could be defined as your Ikigai.
And how do we use this time, Rajiv? Because that's really critical. When the world is going through an enormous crisis, and you see so much pain and suffering around us, how do we use this time to learn what our ikigai is, if we haven't discovered it as yet?
Yes. So this is actually, as I said, and I started out with it, that this is the time actually. If we don't sort, our mind and our bodies out at this time, we never will.
Right.
And what I've been sharing with my friends, and all of us are friends here on this platform.
Yeah.
What I've been sharing with everybody, Kaveri, is that we need to come out of this stronger,
Yeah.
wiser, and happier.
Right.
So if we can, what are we doing to build our immunity?
Yeah.
Because people who are succumbing to COVID
Yeah.
primarily are people, one, either they are elder or they have some lifestyle disease. So in
Right.
Italy, 99% of the mortality
Yeah.
is people who were not healthy or were above a certain age.
Right.
So if we are above a certain age, let's say above 70, we have a particular responsibility to ourselves to take care of our health.
Right.
So what are we doing to build our immunity, build our health?
Yeah.
Are we getting bored,
Hmm.
or are we actually have we found certain tools to be happier?
Yeah.
And can we be happy by ourselves? Do we
Hmm.
need the crutches of a social connect with a
Yeah.
larger audience? Can we just be happier by ourselves,
Right.
or with our spouse who we are locked in the room with, or our immediate nucleus family, whoever is in the room? Can we just be happy as a unit?
Yeah.
And with our people who support us in our life,
Right.
our staff.
Yeah. So you said stronger, wiser, happier. These are the three things that.
Yeah, wiser. And wiser is also, I should.
So stronger, I guess you say we build on our immunity, and there are so many ways that we could do that. Could you just tell us a few in terms of our health, what we could do?
Yeah, so health, there are some very, very health. By the way, immunity boosting is not an overnight thing. Again,
Yeah.
it's a. So if I were to use the example of Okinawans,
Right.
who are the inventors of the concept of Ikigai, and it is the long living people on the southern Japanese island of Okinawa who are
Yeah.
the case studies of healthy long life,
Which you visited.
which I visited, and I
Yeah.
spent a week there. Lived in an Airbnb in Ogimi village,
Right.
because there are no hotels there. I wanted to live with the elders,
Yeah.
interact with them. So that is, I've spoken a lot of that in my talk,
Yeah.
and I do at length in my workshops. But what would make us stronger? I believe it's a process.
Yeah.
But in these, lockdown, let's say 21 days plus 21 days, what we need to do is get on to that journey,
Right.
which means what are we eating, and it is also a lot of our mental faculties. How are we de-stressing?
Yeah.
So there is this, you know, my Ikigai has led me to uh, creation of this platform, co-creation along with my wife Anu. We did our Ikigai workshop together.
Right.
And we came up with this concept that we are both very passionate about wellness.
Right.
And total well-being. So we are coming up with this platform called OmniLife. Now, OmniLife, has researched and talks about 10 pillars of OmniLife.
Right.
So this is my Ikigai is to research things. And my first topic of research is what constitutes a life lived well.
Right.
So we came up with these 10 points, and those are a different conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
But a couple of them are things like what you eat, what and particularly how you de-stress. And are you sleeping enough? Because all of us complain of being sleep deprived.
Right.
Most of the time. So this is the time that complaint is gone. The ecosystem environment. We are in 50 to 100 PMI, which is like almost magical.
Absolutely.
Kaveri, you're in Kolkata, I'm in Delhi.
Yeah.
And all over India, we have magical air quality if we were to bother to wake up early in the morning.
Right.
So these are some of the things which boost our, which will boost our immunity, make us stronger. What would make us happier is if we, and wiser. Yeah, of course. What are we reading? What are we watching? Are we growing? I mean, I can just share my own experiences. I'm no guru. But I can share my own experiences that I like to learn a new concept every day.
Right.
So I was on Netflix yesterday and I watched a lot of documentaries.
Right.
I have like, even today, right now, I have 10 books on my table.
Right.
So I just keep flipping through pages. So I'll be learning something new every day. And
that's
also,
what I tell myself when I'm on Netflix as well, that I'm learning. I'm not wasting time.
Absolutely.
But in a way it is. We are learning whatever we watch and whatever we...
Yeah, like yesterday I was watching 100 Humans and there was this particular 40-minute documentary which spoke of which age group, age band is the happiest. 22, 30, 32, 40, 50. So interestingly, the guys who won, I don't want to maybe tell the story, but...
okay, we'll say spoiler alert.
Yeah, the spoiler is that, guys 60 plus did not do badly at all.
Achha, okay.
The guys who did the worst were people between 30 to 60.
Okay.
Because they are the ones who are in the thick of the corporate life.
Right.
And they are the ones who are most stressed. And they are carrying like a 100-ton weight on their head for I don't know what.
Right.
So at least temporarily for 42 days, that weight is off.
Yeah.
And then you can, reflect on other aspects of life. So hence you can be happier.
Right. Great. So, I also wanted to ask you, Rajiv, because that's one of the things that struck me. You also traveled to Loma Linda, which is another area where people live quite happily. But again, you found there that everyone had a friend or everyone had a companion, to do the things they loved. One of the big issues with, the lockdown is that we're really with our families.
Yes.
That's it. And, so, the whole idea of the society outside the family is a bit, you have to sort of rethink that. So has it made us discover our families? Will it make us stronger as family units? What do we do about friendships? How do we handle all this going forward?
Yeah. So, I mean, I can, that's a great question, and I can just share a few of my own experiences.
Right.
I haven't met my mom, who's my closest person in life. I haven't met her for a month.
Yeah.
And she, it's unheard of that, on Ashtami, I eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. I eat chana and halwa made by her with puris. Right. So she was very, low that I couldn't make it. But we replicated it. Her recipe we cooked in our own house here.
Oh, nice.
We're about 15 kilometers apart.
Right.
And I ate it. I sent her pictures. I video chat with her. And so, there are ways to connect. There are close friends. Drinking is not a priority for me right now. But, there are a few friends. Like tonight, it's a friend's birthday. And at 10:30, we are celebrating his birthday online. We'll all have a glass of wine in our hand. So there are ways to connect up. And as a family, my boys are 23 and 21.
Right.
So they're at that age. They don't need much of us. They need their own private time.
Yeah.
But we haven't. They've just come back from college
right.
in US after their studies. So this is a very, very precious time for
Right.
us. If you just were to be that much, just be in the moment and be self-aware and think, just if you were to reflect
Yeah.
that will this time come again?
Yeah.
In these 42 days, what can I do with my life?
Yeah.
What sort of interaction I can have with my nucleus family?
Right.
So we've been playing a lot of online games, psych, and whatever we enjoy doing together, Ludo, Monopoly, and whatever works. And we did a treasure hunt around the house, and we've done fun stuff like that.
Right, right. But Ikigai is also, as you've said, the convergence of four different things: your passion, your mission, your profession, your vocation.
That's
And
right.
when all these intersect, you really find what your Ikigai is, your reason for.
Truly, and that's what it makes Ikigai so hard to find,
Hmm.
because you have to be really, really fortunate,
Yeah,
uh, and in the right place at the right time, with the
right,
right mindset, with the right people around you to coach you, mentor you, guide you to find your Ikigai.
right.
So one thinks of, let's say, somebody like Sachin Tendulkar,
Yeah.
who's a national icon, global icon.
Hmm.
Now, I ask myself this question: Is Sachin, did he in his career follow his Ikigai?
Right.
Uh, yes, and maybe.
Hmm.
So, how yes is that if Ikigai has to do with your interaction with people.
Hmm.
So, if let's say Sachin played cricket
Hmm.
only to make those 20,000 runs
Right.
and get those records for his own personal satisfaction, then it may not be his Ikigai. It won't qualify because it does not have anything to do with your mission,
Right.
or what you do for the world.
Right.
So Ikigai has to do with how you interact with world around you.
Right.
Now Sachin, what he really did was that he drew inspiration, and he said it in his biography, in that film that came out, and his that in his book, that I drew energy and I did it for people. I did it for my millions of fans.
Right.
And when you become a source of happiness, that
Right.
I need to do well because I'm a source of happiness for so many million people.
Right.
And
Right.
then it is your Ikigai. So
Right.
just a slight change in your own attitude
Right.
kind of helps determine whether you're following your Ikigai or not. But more than that, your level of motivation zooms up. So for example, again, Netflix, I watched with my son another documentary which is about the Brazilian soccer team. I think it's called All or Nothing. And it's so motivating, so inspirational. First time ever you've gone into the locker room of a major soccer team. And they, it is about how they are pepped up, how they pep each
Right.
other up, how they rise up after falling down.
Right.
And essentially the bottom line is they are making their countrymen and their fans all over the world proud. Is
Right.
their Ikigai. Now a Japanese version,
Yeah.
and one thing I would recommend to everyone, each
Yeah.
one of our viewers today, is to watch this, Google this Nescafe ad. And if you just write Nescafe Ikigai ad, it's an ad film, 2.25 minutes. It is a beautiful description of the Japanese version of Ikigai,
Okay.
which is simply, it has nothing to do with commerce,
Hmm.
but so it has nothing to do with your profession. That is what the Venn diagram, what you spoke of, is a Western definition.
Right.
The Japanese definition is purely whatever makes you happy.
Happy.
So that, that I believe was a beautiful description of Ikigai.
Right. And Rajiv, sorry, you were saying something?
Yeah. Sorry, no, I lost the thought of just to complete the loop of that thought of the Brazilian national team. Why they are following their Ikigai is because their intention is to make people happy. And even in that Nescafe ad, what they show is this boxer wants to win the tournament, and he doesn't want to win the tournament for his own medal.
Yeah.
He wants to win the medal because he wants to make his team happy.
Right.
So he's doing it for his co-team members.
Right.
And that's why it is his Ikigai.
Right. So So in everything, really, you have your, not just your individual self, but the larger community
Yeah,
built in. So it could be a mother who's just sort of making, perhaps cooking a meal, but she's cooking a
absolutely.
meal to make her family happy. It's not just because she has to do it to make her
Yeah,
family happy. So that's very interesting because it's teaching us a kind of selflessness as well, which
absolutely.
perhaps we've lost somewhere along the way. So, do you see this kind of selflessness, which we've not seen so much of in India, perhaps? Do you see it coming back into fashion? Do you see a
Very,
philanthropist side coming forward?
absolutely. I mean, I haven't seen this sort of community
Yeah,
connect.
yeah.
As we say in Indian culture, Vasudevam Kutumbam, which
Kutumbakam, yeah,
the whole world is one. And
yeah,
I remember, sharing in a bar in Japan, sharing this with one Swiss gentleman I met. So he made me Google it. He Googled it. He wrote down the meaning and
mm,
he WhatsApped me later about it. He found that term that the whole world is one. We are all
right,
interconnected.
yeah,
He found that so powerful. And this is the right demonstration that I know people who have taken over, their neighborhood clubs, and
right,
they're using the kitchen to cook 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 meals a day, and
right,
and send it to people who need it. We haven't seen this sort of community care. Our healthcare workers, the kind of missionary spirit with
mm,
which they are working. I mean, the kind of connect has been phenomenal.
mm,
Also, your other point, of us discovering each other as family members.
yeah,
Like I give you my own example of my wife. She was Anu was sharing with me this morning that one of her, because Ikigai is such a regular part of our daily life and our
right.
conversation, she says, you know what, one of my mini Ikigais is to make smoothies for you guys. Because at 11 a.m. when I sit on my work desk, I am actually fidgeting and looking around. When is my smoothie going to come? And
Right,
Anu makes beautiful smoothies.
right,
So it is, and when she sees, all of us enjoying it, so
right.
that kind of gives her a sense of fulfillment. So that also is an ikigai.
Great. We have a question that's come in, Rajiv from Devanshu Daga. Ikigai emphasizes how to channelize passion into profit. My question is, how does one incorporate this varied uncertainty which stands ahead of us in this growing VUCA world? I don't know. What does VUCA world mean? You perhaps know that.
VUCA, no, I'm not a acronym guy at all. I've heard it, but I can't relate with it.
Okay. So anyway, I think the question is about how do we channelize passion into profit? Because
Yeah,
eventually commerce is important, of course.
yeah. So I was, thank you for this question. I was listening to Shri Shri Ravi Shankar
Right.
on Sunday, and he made a very important mention how to handle COVID
Hmm.
times and for leaders. And he mentioned that we have all gone back down to ashes.
Hmm.
It's almost like a castle we had built, a sand
Yeah.
castle. It has
Right.
gone down to ashes,
Right.
and it's gone down to flat, and we have to rebuild it now.
Right.
So whatever creation we have done as a business, as a professional, or what we had a goal. If we are a business manager and we had a target, that whole thing has been undone,
Right.
and we have to begin afresh. It's
Right.
almost like a reboot in
Hmm.
our professional lives and our
Hmm.
personal lives.
Hmm.
So this is also a challenge and
Hmm.
an opportunity.
Hmm.
So are we again another point Shri Shri made, which is that do you handle it with fear?
Hmm.
You have a choice.
Hmm.
Or do you see this as the biggest opportunity in your life
Hmm.
to create something new,
New. Right.
to create something, and that's where your leadership spirit, your entrepreneurial spirit, the leader in you. This
Yeah.
is the time for that leader to shine.
Hmm. Okay, so we've got two very helpful people, Raja Ram and Shekhar, who've explained to us what VUCA stands for. It's volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So
Yeah.
this is the new world. So I think we've pretty much explained the kind of
Yeah, we
leadership.
did. We did.
Yeah,
We challenged that it will continue to be, we are all making scenarios and we are saying that it could be, in a normal case or in a bad case scenario, in a worst case scenario. The
hmm.
worst case scenarios are that we are possibly in a 2.5 years of economic depression, global.
Absolutely.
And in that situation, we may not be earning what we want to earn.
Yeah.
And is this a time to reinvent ourselves professionally? And here I would draw inspiration from possibly my liftman, my security guard, my gardener,
Right.
my janitor.
Yeah.
And I want to give you an example,
Yeah.
which is that we gave a choice to our staff that
Yeah.
you're either in or out. So please
Right.
make a choice. You may
Right.
not be able to go back and see your families for 3 weeks or 42 days.
Yeah.
So the gardener said to me, and if I can say this in Hindi, he
Yeah.
says, "Sir, मैं यहाँ रहूँगा, नहीं तो मेरे बच्चे मर जाएंगे," means पौधे, the plants. The
Right.
plants are
Okay.
gonna die if I'm
Huh.
not around, because this is end of spring season.
Right.
The flowers are blossoming. If I don't take care of them, they will die.
Wow.
So this is his Ikigai.
Right.
His purpose, his commitment to his purpose, his passion, and his, it's not really his profession.
Yeah.
He didn't do it for money.
Yeah.
Because I know he can survive, without his, that salary for a month or so, or we would have still paid him.
Yeah.
But he wanted to be there for his plants.
Yeah.
So it is what commitment we take back to our professional work.
Right.
Whether we are working for somebody or for ourselves, what commitment we take back. How do we help our company rebuild itself?
Right.
What is the what role can we play in that? We will get noticed.
Right.
We will get noticed, and we don't need to do it to get noticed. We need to do it for our own satisfaction.
Right. Deepika is asking, how do you uncover your Ikigai? How do you find that reason?
Deepika, you need to come for a workshop with us. But it's a 90-minute workshop which we do. My aim is always to give people tools which they work with and play with themselves. And there are several tools. So I approach it with a Japanese wellness point of view. I also have my colleagues, we also, our approach, our philosophy, at Omni Life is to approach everything from ancient wisdom, draw upon ancient wisdom, which means wisdom of our elders, or wisdom from our scriptures.
Yeah.
And ratify it with modern science, what science is saying, so that it becomes believable. And aim is to return to the natural way of living or working.
Right.
So what comes to you naturally to restore the natural rhythms. So Deepika, just if you can, Kaveri, remind me what is
Deepika? It is Deepika.
Yeah. No, Deepika, what is the specific question?
She's saying that how do you discover your Ikigai? How do you discover that meaning?
Yeah, so discovery of Ikigai is a journey. I mean, it's a journey, and there are several tools what we use. What I was building up to is that I use the Japanese wellness, ancient Japanese wellness principle of Ikigai. But there are several other ways to find your life purpose. So we also, have colleagues who work with alchemy, the ancient Egyptian science, how to convert your ego to your genius, how to discover your genius.
Right.
So there are several tools, and there are also meditations, which we do. So there are 5. I mean, if people have any specific questions on how to go about this journey, we can connect up later.
Yeah, great. Niket has a longish question. I'll just read it out to you. Would like to find out that though I've been busy trying to firefight most situations at home and work, when I hear about all the various activities people are undertaking during this lockdown, whether fitness or self-learning, I've somehow become just a couch potato, sleeping, watching Netflix, eating, catching up with friends online, etc. But I find my Ikigai in it. How valuable is that? As I've been feeling a part of a different cosmos when I keep hearing about so many activities undertaken by almost everyone. A very interesting point of view.
Very nice. Very nice. I like it. And to each their own.
Yeah.
To each their own is as simple as that. Who are we to prescribe to anyone? Or why should we come under pressure from social media? So if our spirit has been guiding us that this is the time to just relax. And there are 100 ways to relax, and if that is what you want to do, that's fine. And as long as it your Ikigai is also about what gives you a sense of fullness, and then you should not feel hollow inside. Hence Aniket, if this makes you feel full, it makes your heart full and makes you happy when you connect with your friend or you feel you're growing, then it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Who are we to judge?
Yeah.
It's your life, your story.
Yeah. And I think Ikigai also makes you less judgmental. I mean, that's one of the things, because each finds his own happiness in what they're doing. So you can't judge other people, which is a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We should never be judging other people, and
Right.
Ikigai can be so totally different for different people.
Yeah.
And using example of Japanese people, I could give you an example of in Japan you have these 8-seater bars. So just imagine, in Kolkata, in Baliganj, in a small by lane, just round the corner there's a 8-seater bar which only serves rum. So now somebody loves rum, so they have started this 8-seater bar. So I happened to ask one of these bartender young ladies that is this commercially viable for you? And she gave a very interesting answer. She says, no, I work as a manager in an art gallery during the day. But I
Oh,
do this in the evening.
right.
I get to meet people like you because
Oh,
every day people from all over the world, different parts of the country come and I grow and I learn and I love interacting with my people.
right.
Like Aniket, what he said earlier. So
Yeah.
this is my Ikigai.
Great. Vanita Rungta has a question. Will you be able to do an online personal session?
Yes, Vanita, while I run a business in financial services, but helping people find their Ikigai is my Ikigai. And I do it as a profession now. I do it over the weekends. Kaveri got me into this one on a Wednesday, but normally I do this on weekends.
Right.
And I do one-on-one coachings, and I also run group sessions. I ideally like groups of 10 to 15 people. So if you can get a group of people together, Deepika also wanted to know earlier. I'm happier taking you, through a session of a workshop. Even in my TED talk, I've explained the basic tools.
Yeah.
What I tell people is that make a diary and write down things what you love doing. The 4 things: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and where you could make money.
Yeah.
So you start writing them down. But I need to talk to you at a much greater length and in much greater depth to help you go on to that journey and follow that process. So
Right.
I can share that tool with you, definitely.
Yeah. Wonderful. Rishi Loya has a question. Hello, sir. What is the difference between purpose of life and aim of life? Interesting question.
Very interesting, Rishi.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking because it gives me a chance to answer. So, like I said at the beginning, Ikigai is, all about what Ikigai is not. If you want to understand Ikigai, first understand what Ikigai is not. So, Ikigai is not a business goal.
Yeah.
It is not that I am the, head of this NBFC bank or a manufacturing company and I want to achieve 100 crore target this year. Or I want to make so much profit. It is not about selling so many units.
Yeah.
Ikigai is not an aim, let's say, that I want to be 80 kilos of weight. Right now I'm 90 kilos, I want to be 80 kilos of weight. Ikigai is a daily exercise, something you do every day and something which makes you happy.
Right.
Hence, that is, and something which fills your heart with joy.
Right.
That is your Ikigai. So that is how you, distinguish Ikigai is more towards purpose than an aim. Aim is a more of a one-time thing, whereas a purpose is something like an ongoing. It's like chugging along, and also this has linked to the concept of longevity. So, like people in Okinawa, they live long. They're healthy long. So there are global researches to prove that if you have a purpose in life, that would be one of the reasons when you become older. And there are, loved ones, many of our loved ones who we see today are not around us. So what will get us through life if we are one of the few, fortunate or unfortunate ones to live long? The only thing that will get us through is having a purpose.
And love is a great purpose to have.
Absolutely. In fact, Ikigai is all about emotions.
Yeah.
And love is expression of emotion in whatever you do. So the, Nescafe ad, when you see it, it will show you this craftsman, the love with which he is making, or this lady tending to her horses.
Right.
That is her. Or when I went to Okinawa, I met Mio-san and Fuji-san, and Mio-san from a quarter of an acre farm.
Right.
The fruits we plucked together, and she fed me like a grandchild.
Yeah.
So love, Ikigai is all about expression of emotions. Ikigai is more a feeling.
Right.
And anything which does not evoke a feeling in you is not your Ikigai.
Yeah. So we've been told time's up, but Rajiv, one last question.
Yes.
I really wanted to know, how does it fit into the Hindu philosophy, really, which is, that you do your duty, don't think of the result, just keep doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. So I mean, I must confess that I'm not so I'm not so religious, but I'm more spiritual, and
Yeah.
I read different scriptures, including ours, but not in too much depth. So my knowledge would be superficial. But one of my guru friends, what he told me is that Ikigai is like following your dharma, the
Right.
philosophy of dharma. Now, some of our participants may know much more about it,
Yeah.
but if you Google and read about the Hindu principle of dharma, more than karma, karma is like do your work, and,
Right.
and do not do not be dependent on the outcome, and
Right.
accept whatever the outcome is.
Right.
But dharma is more about follow your duty, follow
Right.
or what is your duty.
Yeah.
Now, Ikigai is linked to it, but is also different. That each one of us has this unique gift.
Hmm.
And as they say in this in this quote, WhatsApp forward, that everybody is born twice.
Yeah.
One, their biological worth, and one, when they know what is